Hello students, in this video we are going to deal with few more questions related to the respiration topic. The next question is, with the help of an activity, explain that air we breathe out contains carbon dioxide. It means we will have to discuss an activity here which will prove that the exhaled air contains carbon dioxide in it. So let's see what things will require for this activity.
So the materials which we require for this experiment are the test tube. One test tube is required. You can see the test tube is shown here in this figure. One delivery tube is required. This is a narrow tube. One end is put inside the test tube. Another one is in contact with the mouth. And we will also require lime water. Lime water is chemical name of is the common name of calcium hydroxide, and we must take care that the lime water which we are using for this experiment is freshly prepared. Procedure means the steps. We'll have to take almost 5 ml of lime water in the test tube. You can see 5 ml of lime water is taken in the test tube. Delivery tube should be put, and care must be taken that the lower end of the delivery tube should be properly immersed in this lime water, and through the upper opening of this delivery tube we'll have to blow air. Observation: after few seconds you will observe that lime water turns milky. Earlier it was not milky, it was almost transparent. But as soon as exhaled air reaches here, it turns milky. Children, you must understand that lime water always turns milky when it comes in contact with carbon dioxide. So, we can have a conclusion here that the exhaled air or the air that we breathe out contains carbon dioxide. You can also see the reaction which is involved in this process. Calcium hydroxide, that is lime water solution here, reacts with carbon dioxide which has come in contact with this calcium hydroxide along with the exhaled air. They both react and calcium carbonate is formed here. Calcium carbonate actually is responsible for the milkiness of lime water, and along with calcium carbonate, water is also prepared. So in this way, with this activity, very easily we can prove that the exhaled air or the air that we breathe out contains carbon dioxide.
The question is to differentiate between external and internal respiration, that is breathing and cellular respiration, aerobic and anaerobic respiration, and the third one we are going to see difference between photosynthesis and respiration, and we are going to deal with all these one by one. Let's see the first one, that is difference between external respiration and internal respiration. External respiration is also called as breathing. Internal respiration is also called as cellular respiration. First point, breathing is a physical process which involves just the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Means only exchange of gases take place here. It is mere a physical process. But in this case, that is the cellular respiration or internal respiration, is actually a biochemical process which involves complete breakdown of food, that is glucose, to produce carbon dioxide, water, and in this process energy is also released. So this is the physical process, and this one is the biochemical process involving chemical reactions. Second point of difference is that breathing occurs outside the cell, and that is why it is called as external respiration. Whereas cellular respiration, as the name itself suggests, occurs inside the cell, and that is why it is called as internal respiration also. Third point of difference is regarding enzymes. No enzymes are involved in breathing process, whereas different enzymes are involved during cellular respiration at different stages. Enzymes are special proteins, you must know, which enhance the rate of reaction. Last point of difference is regarding the release of energy. No energy is released during external respiration or breathing, whereas at the end of cellular respiration or internal respiration, energy is released in a controlled and stepwise manner. So this is how, with all these points, we can differentiate between breathing and cellular respiration.
Let's see difference between aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. We have already discussed these topics in detail in the previous video also. You can go through that video to understand it more. Anyways, let's see the first point of difference. Aerobic respiration proceeds only in presence of oxygen. It means oxygen is required for this process to occur. Anaerobic respiration proceeds in absence of oxygen. And due to this reason, aerobic respiration, because it requires oxygen, so it is also called as oxybiotic respiration. And because it occurs in absence of oxygen, so it is also called as anaxibiotic respiration. Second, in aerobic respiration, complete breakdown of glucose occurs, but in case of anaerobic respiration, partial or incomplete breakdown of glucose occurs. End products in case of aerobic respiration will be carbon dioxide and water, whereas end products in case of anaerobic respiration will be alcohol, ethyl alcohol and water. In aerobic respiration, children, considerable amount of energy is released, means large amount of energy is released in this process. At the end of this process, it is 38 ATP from 1 mole of glucose. But in anaerobic respiration, what happens? The same 1 mole of glucose will really give out only 2 ATP of energy, and which is very much less as compared to the aerobic respiration. So we can say that much less energy is released in this process, only 2 ATP from 1 mole of glucose. The next point can be taken as the example of the organisms in which normally aerobic respiration occurs. Very good example is human being itself, then the birds, etc. Certain bacteria and fungi respire anaerobically, normally, and yeast is very good example for carrying out the process of anaerobic respiration. And on commercial scale also, yeasts are required for manufacturing or production of wine. So this is how we can differentiate between aerobic and anaerobic respiration. Let's see the last one, that is difference between photosynthesis and respiration. If you will observe carefully, think carefully, you will find that respiration and photosynthesis, especially in case of plants, are distinctly opposite processes. The various point of difference can be seen like this. First one is that photosynthesis occurs only in presence of chlorophyll, whereas
respiration occurs in all the living cells whether chlorophyll is present or not. Next is photosynthesis occurs only in presence of light, but there is no binding for all such things. In case of respiration, it occurs at all the times independent of light. Next is that during photosynthesis, the various raw materials which are required are carbon dioxide and water. These are the main raw materials which plants require to carry out photosynthesis. But in case of respiration, oxygen and glucose are required. The next is oxygen is released as an end product of photosynthesis, but at the end, carbon dioxide gas is released in respiration. The last difference can be written like this. Food, that is glucose, is manufactured. We all know that photosynthesis results in the formation of glucose, formation of food, and that is why it is constructive process. In biology, we call all such processes as anabolic process. Respiration involves breaking down of glucose, and that is why it is destructive process. In biology, we call it catabolic process. So photosynthesis is anabolic, whereas respiration is catabolic. So this is how we can differentiate between photosynthesis and respiration.